Hello there, I am Mr. Beasley, and this is the second video on the poem Lamia by the romantic poet John Keats. And in the first video we looked at romanticism in general and themes commonly found in Keats's poetry, and we also looked at the first 12 lines of the poem. Here we're going to continue analysing the poem by looking at lines 13 to 46. And if you remember, we have a setting which is in the coastal forests of Crete, and an amorous god, Hermes, who is in pursuit of his next sexual conquest. He's left his throne on Mount Olympus and made the sky dark so as not to be seen. In the next part of the poem, we find out why Hermes has gone to such lengths to find this nymph. She is described as a nymph to whom all hoofed satyrs knelt, at whose white feet the languid Tritons poured pearls. Now, if you remember, a satyr is a mythical creature, part horse, part man, known for its sexual appetite, and a Triton is also a highly sexual mythical creature, a sort of aquatic version of a satyr. The point is that even the most highly sexed of all mythical creatures kneel at the sight of this particular nymph, give her rich gifts of pearls. They adore and worship her. They're even prepared to die for her, as suggested by the verb withered. It is said that she likes bathing in the springs of the forest, while in the meadows where she walks, rich gifts are left in adoration of her beauty, gifts that are not even the greatest imagination could create. This is why Hermes is searching for her. And remember what I said before about heat being associated with desire? Well, over the next two lines, we've got two mentions of this, the celestial heat and also the verb burnt. We also see the metaphor of his lily-white cheeks turning red or blushed. But this isn't blushing from embarrassment. This is the heat of sexual desire appearing on his face as he pursues the nymph. There are mentions of Hermes' hair over the next couple of lines, which, in keeping with his godly status, is described as golden. There is also the adjective jealous used here, which already seems to suggest the sense of ownership that he already feels about this nymph, although the word can also mean to covet or to want. His search takes him from vale to vale and wood to wood. He follows rivers to their very source. Such is his determination to find the place where this sweet nymph prepared her secret bed. And yet, despite the exhaustive nature of his search, it is all in vain. He cannot find her. So he rests, lonely and thoughtful, full of painful jealousies, which, again, indicates the ownership he already feels for her. At this point, Keats introduces another character. Hermes hears a sad, mournful voice. A voice so sad, in fact, that it is capable of turning all the listener's pain into pity. And remember the theme of transformation from earlier on. And this is the voice that he hears. When from this wreathed tomb shall I awake? When move in a sweet body fit for life and love and pleasure and the ruddy strife of hearts and lips? Oh, miserable me! This is the voice of Lamia. And this first inclusion of direct speech from the central character is worth taking a quick look at. Firstly, the plaintive voice questions when she will ever awake from the state that she's currently in, a state which she describes in metaphor as a wreathed tomb. highly decorated grave, but a grave all the same. She asks when she will be able to move in a sweet body, a body fit for love and passion. And these images build up to an almost sexual climax with the phrase ruddy strife, where ruddy means to turn red and strife has the slightly archaic meaning of friction or strenuous effort. So, in other words, the voice which Hermes hears is one which longs for a physical form which will enable her to glow with passionate exertion. And whatever image you have in your mind right now is probably the right one. The sexual imagery continues over the next few lines as Hermes glides silently towards the voice that is overheard. The plants are full flowering, suggesting a readiness to reproduce, while as the god follows the sound round bush and tree, he finds a palpitating snake. And yes, the image of a throbbing snake is deliberately phallic and sexual. When Hermes sees Lamia, she is lying cirque couchant. So she's curled up, basically with her head raised. She's brightly coloured, and this descriptive imagery is developed much further and with much greater detail in the next part of the poem, which will be the subject of the next video.